so they said, the people may retain their money until their grievances are redressed and thus peaceably procure relief, a non-violent solution to your problems when the government steps outside the boundaries. You don't have to resort to the Second Amendment in today's terms, if the First Amendment, will work. And it's there without trusting to the despised petitions or disturbing the public tranquility. It's a non-violent tool, a right that the people have. You don't have to resort to violence to overthrow and take the castles and the lands and all the weapons that the government has. You can just retain your money. You can withdraw your allegiance to the government. If they've stepped outside the boundaries, if they're doing something they have no authority to do. This is not done in a light-hearted way or anything of the sort. It's a serious matter. They act, and they apply armed forces of the United States in hostilities overseas without a declaration of war. They violate your privacy rights. They allow private parties, to take your land and give it to another private party simply because they can get more tax money from that land in violation of the fundamental property right. Pretty serious stuff. We have in Article 2 of the Constitution, it says which deals with the executive, it says the president shall take an oath to uphold the Constitution and so forth, but it also says to faithfully execute the laws. Well, we have all these laws on the books. Whatever your position is on immigration and undocumented aliens and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is, I would ask you to pay attention to the fact that we have laws on the books passed by Congress meant to deal with illegal immigrants, meant to punish those who hire them and so forth. But neither party wants to enforce these laws because they don't want to offend, the Latino vote or something of that sort. I'm sorry. The laws are on the books. It's unconstitutional not to enforce them. The Constitution is not a menu. We don't decide what we want to enforce and what we don't want to enforce. As long as it's there, I mean, if you don't like it, Mr. President, Mr. and Mrs. Congress, if you don't like it, repeal it. But geez, don't sit there and allow what's happening while we've got these laws on the books when you took an oath to faithfully execute the laws. It's in Article 2 of the Constitution.
Can you tell our viewers a little bit about, and I really like this analogy, or at least the way you present it to people, where, once again, my viewers, I recommend not only if they're in school, but even if you're graduated school and you're done with school, pick up a Constitution and read it. But important was, you were mentioning to people who said, it's not a menu. You don't get to choose the thing, like, freedom of speech. Well, we're choosing to let you have that today, and hopefully we get to enjoy, but it's not a menu. It's, once again, it's specific, it's line by line, it says exactly.
You can't decide, what parts of it you like and what parts of it you don't like. Some people say, well, I don't like guns out there, and so I don't believe in the Second Amendment. Sorry, it's there. If you don't like it, there's a process to change the Constitution, but you can't decide that it's okay to disarm the people because I like that policy and so does my congressman. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. You don't like the language of the Second Amendment, or
go through the process.
Then go through the process and change it. See if you can convince 3/4 of the state legislatures to convert this country, to disarm the people and to convert this country from a republic to a pure democracy. But which, by the way, the founders very emphatically rejected the idea of a democracy where the majority could vote away your rights, your individual rights. They said your rights are individual rights. They're endowed by the Creator. The government didn't create them. The majority didn't give you them, and they can't take them away.
Well, and the other thing, the viewers, hopefully they know after a couple of shows that I don't believe the word democracy even appears in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
No, it doesn't.
Or the Declaration of Independence. Yet we're constantly sold that.
Right.
And we're probably sold it by the same people who sell us many other things.
The petition for redress is mentioned first in the Magna Carta. What was the Magna Carta? Magna Carta is the cradle of liberty. Over in England, before signed in 1215. Before 1215, you had these monarchs who had absolute power. They could do no wrong. You couldn't sue them. They were God's representative on earth. They could do to you whatever they wanted to do to you. Tax you to whatever extent, send people to and take you out and lynch you. Whatever they wanted to do, they could do that. And so the barons, you know, confronted the king at Runnymede. And the king signed the Declaration of Independence. Signed the Magna Carta. And what does it say? It says, you can see the words. It says, well, let's read it. If we, or our Chief Justice, our officials, or any of our servants offend in any respect against any man, if we oppress or infringe on your natural rights, or transgress any of the articles of the peace or of this security, and the offense is made known to 4 of the said 25 barons, they shall come to us, or in our absence, come to us, the monarchy, the king and the queen, or in our absence from the kingdom to the Chief Justice, to declare it and claim immediate remedy or immediate redress. So if the folks feel that they've been oppressed by the government, you can go to your barons, and any 4 of the 25 can come to us. If we, or in our absence abroad, the Chief Justice, if we make no remedy, if we make no redress within 40 days, reckoning from the day on which the offense was declared to us or to him, the 4 barons shall refer the matter to the rest of the 25 barons, who may distrain upon and assail us in every way possible, with the support of the whole community of the land, by seizing our castles, lands, possessions, or anything else, saving only our own person and those of the queen and our children, until they have secured such redress as they have determined upon. So take everything we own by force, use whatever means necessary, take everything we own except my life, the king's saying, and the life of the queen and the children. Wow. 41 days to respond. Having secured the redress, they may then resume their normal obedience to us. And beginning with this, I mean, the right to petition, the right of speech, press, assembly, these, the scholars have correctly determined, are derivative rights. What good is the right to petition if you couldn't speak about it, if you couldn't write about it, if you couldn't meet and talk about it? So these other rights, you know, the more popular rights, are derivative rights. They derive from this fundamental right to hold a government accountable.
They were, I want to say, blessed, these viewers. They got to watch Aaron Russo's Freedom to Fascism. Can you tell our audience a little, you knew Aaron?
Yes.
You met and may have worked with him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. He was an interesting fella. Obviously an acclaimed, accomplished Hollywood producer. And we had him as a speaker at our national conference in 2004. And he was pretty impressed with the lineup of speakers we had there. The theme of the conference was the state of the Constitution. And so we had leading speakers there who were familiar with various rights like property rights and privacy rights and Second Amendment rights and so forth, and talking about the state of affairs. And in any event, Aaron learned that we were going to, one more time, submit our petitions for redress of grievances to the government on July 19th and in 2004. One of those petitions had to do with we were trying to reconcile the differences between the Iraq resolution and the War Powers Clause, between the direct unapportioned tax on your labor and the taxing clauses, between the privacy clauses of the Constitution and the USA Patriot Act, and the Federal Reserve and the money clauses. We were trying to reconcile the differences, so we had these 4 petitions for redress of those grievances. And we were mentioning at this conference that we were going to bring a lawsuit against the federal government, asking them to declare what our rights are and what the government's obligations are under the last 10 words of the First Amendment, something they have never done. And then we were going to march down to the federal courthouse from the National Press Club in Washington. And so Aaron, fortunately, C-SPAN covered our event live, and he was just so excited. Aaron called and said, "This is wonderful. I'm going to make a movie about this." And he did. And we helped him with the script and with the content for the film. And then we, when he just about had it ready, It's called America, Freedom to Fascism.